Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me on Nothing About Everything, the internet's shittiest pop culture podcast. Sorry for the hiatus. We ran into some technical difficulties, but we're back.
Sarah.
So, yeah, Sarah.
What?
I'm once again joined by my...
What's up, guys?
I'm once again joined by my co-hosts. Go ahead and do your thing real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, Alex.
Alex.
Hey, this is Sarah.
And if you didn't know, Sarah's the one who butchered our last episode because he lost it, so...
AKA Mr. Technical Difficulties.
Right now.
This is the third episode, but it's actually probably going to be the second episode because Sarah fucked everything up. But we're just going to go ahead and dive right in. We got a lot of controversial topics today. Things that nobody wants to talk about. Things that I have very little knowledge about. But I'm allowed to have an opinion. So the first topic...
Are you
though? Freedom of speech.
Yeah,
Freedom
of course. Speech. Dude, come on. The first topic, sports. We're gonna talk about some sports ball.
What's the first topic? Did you send it?
Yeah.
Did you send the list?
Oh my god, dude. What do you think we were talking about for the last half hour?
Oh!
Said I missed it because he was on the phone with his mom for like...
Oh, yeah.
You talking about your weekend.
Alright. Oh, yeah, I forgot. So March Madness, the NCAA tournament's coming to an end this weekend. Or no, not an end, but we get the Final Four. And this happened...
Then the champions on Monday, I think.
Oh, so yeah, okay, so we'll just call it the weekend it's ending. Alright. But one thing I kind of wanted to talk about last week, but we couldn't because Sarah ruined everything. Michigan State head coach Tom Izzo caught some flack on the internet from, I don't want to say sensitive people, but sensitive people. He was yelling. I don't think he was the only one either. I think one of the assistant coaches got in Kenny Goins' face, he's a senior, for what I assume was a lackluster defensive performance. And when I say like gut in his face, like he was like in his face, like yelling at him. And so people on the internet, more specifically Twitter, and I feel like it was on Reddit a little bit, were essentially saying that what he did was like wrong, and that style of coaching is like wrong. Like you shouldn't be yelling at your players like that. I think that's dumb. Yes,
Alex, what do you think?
You should. I feel like if you're gonna join like a top, shut up. I feel like if you're gonna join a top-notch team like that, then you should expect to be playing at a certain level, and when you're not, I feel like you should catch some flack.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
You don't have rights?
Tough love. But he went out and I think he got like it wasn't game winning, but it was like a 3 that like put them up. I'm pretty sure. So it's like, did it work, or was he just like, I better not fuck up again so coach doesn't yell at me? And the kid did an interview and was like, yeah, like it's really wasn't that big of a deal. So I feel I
don't see the issue, but I'm kind of one of those people that like, if I was coaching like my future kids or coaching kids or whatever, I would probably get in their face too if they messed up, and especially like being on that stage, like in March Madness, like tempers are gonna fly, like it's gonna get heated because these games get close and whatnot. But I didn't see anything like, unless he like pulled like some Indiana coach back in the day when like he started screaming at people and throwing chairs like on the court.
Throwing chairs.
Yeah.
No, it was. Wait, did you not see the video?
I saw like a still of it. So like I saw like he was like in his face and stuff, but like
yeah, it was like a thing. It was like a whole thing, and people were just so upset that he like got in this kid's face. But you're right. So like if you're gonna,
I bet you those people that got like butthurt are the kind of people that like have their kids get participation awards and stuff when they when they play, like they join a sports team or something. But they're the kind of people that are like, oh, as long as they're having fun, like, no, it's win or lose. There's no.
Well, yes, it is win or lose. It's a single elimination tournament. I feel like if it was like a regular season game, maybe, but the fact that it's just in tournament play and you're going to the Final Four, I'm pretty sure this is Michigan State's like 10th Final Four appearance. I don't know in the last X amount of years.
Just throwing out a number out there.
Yeah.
Shit, you just threw 10. I feel like that's wrong.
No, I'm pretty sure it's 10 Final Four appearances since, like, that's the part where I would have to make up a number. We'll call it, like,
since
19.
3 years ago.
They've had 10 Final Four appearances in the last 5 years. How, like, of course, like, if your players aren't performing, then, like, I'm gonna get in your face and be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you're better than this. Like, do you not want to win? Yeah. Do you not want to win? I think the funniest part about this whole debacle was Tom Izzo did a press conference and one of the reporters asked him a question and you could see on his face what he really wanted to say. But what came out of his mouth was something along the so they were like, so they weren't rebounding. They were like, how did you turn the team around in terms of, you know, rebounds? Because they weren't rebounding and I guess their defense wasn't all that great. And so I think Tom Izzo kind of watched himself by his response because it was something along the lines of, well, like, we weren't really doing that good, so I kind of pulled the team aside and was like, hey, guys, I know you're playing really hard, but it would be really cool if we worked on our rebounds. But, like, you could see it in his face that he was like that's not what he wanted to say. He wanted to, like, go off and be like, I don't know what he wanted to say, but you could tell that he was kind of watching his behavior because he got fucking roasted on the internet. Yeah, but it's not even that he realized what he did. It's like, dude, like, these sensitive people are like, dude, like, chill, like, well, you shouldn't treat the players like that as long as they're having fun. No, bro, Game 7 play to win. Like, I'm going to the Final Four. Like, what do you want?
That's not how March Madness works, James. There's no game. It's like the NBA Finals, bro.
I don't know. I think it's really interesting. I feel like, I don't know, like, how much of a role do coaches really play these days? I mean, I don't know. It's just like you got talent on the court. You're playing your game, and like, what can a coach really do other than run a couple plays? Like, if you know the plays and you know what you're gonna do, like.
I think college is different, though.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I see.
Different? I'm not the biggest like NCAA like fan.
I personally like to pay attention more to college basketball than I do NBA.
Yeah, but I think in the NBA, you have a point, Sarah, because like, it's like if I was like a player in the NBA, like for example, let's say if I was like LeBron James. I would not.
Yeah, like he's been known to like coach.
Like I get paid like almost 100 times what the coach would like gets paid. Like how do you expect me to listen to you? You know what I mean? As opposed to like when you're in college, there's an actual like college like respectable college coaches that, you know, I'm almost positive these kids like listen to and they like. Idolize, you know, like because they're like mentors for them.
Yeah.
So you would say that like in NBA, like coaches aren't as
Yeah, I would say.
I don't want to say
NBA coaches.
I don't want to say useful, but
NBA coaches aren't as useful as college coaches, in my opinion.
College basketball.
Yeah.
College. Okay. So you're saying we should start a league where there's no coaches?
I
mean, it can be done.
I feel like there's a lot of jobs that are being phased out, and I think possibly coaches should be phased out. I mean, everyone has their opinions, but like, why do you really need a coach? Like, wouldn't you rather have a coach that plays with you? Like the leader, a captain of the team, like one that's on the court, seeing things, firsthand.
I think the only issue in like the like professional structure would just be like knowing when to sub who out and etc.
Other than that, that's true. Yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you really want to win, I mean, you understand what kind of minutes that you can play. You understand the situation, different kinds of players you can put out there if you want to be.
Ah, man, if I'm playing, I'm not coming out.
Offensive.
I could be missing every shot, and I'm staying on the court.
That's what happens when you ride the bench like Alex.
So I'm just saying.
But like, one of the things that kind of came to mind, just like kind of talking about this and how this incident kind of takes our mind, I feel like off the bigger picture of, it just kind of reminds me of what is the NCAA. Like, Alex, can you like explain who the NCAA is?
The NCAA is
it's the National Collegiate Athletic Association.
Yeah. So from my understanding, all they do is kind of build a schedule for the teams. Is that what they do?
It deals with that, but then it also deals with like everything on the school side. Like it handles the players.
It handles
like the players.
It handles their revenue of $995.9 million in 2016.
So you're saying we should abolish the NCAA?
What I'm saying is possibly like, why not? Maybe the NCAA threw some money at Tom Izzo to like lash out like this, right? Everyone's got their attention on Tom Izzo, but what I think should happen is this Final Four, the players should just sit out. I feel like there's just way too much money going around, and these players aren't getting paid. I feel like.
See, but now
I feel like there's got to be a way to pay them. There's got to be a way.
Yeah,
like,
full ride to school.
Not really, because half of these players only go for like a year or two before like going to the NBA. They use this as a stepping stone to get into the NBA.
Yeah. So what the you need to? Nah, I'm like pretty opposed to paying college athletes. To paying college athletes. Yeah, absolutely.
But like, you don't feel like those players aren't getting exploited for their talents.
I understand. You don't think any other any other sports league exploits their players for money?
Yeah, but LeBron gets his contract. And then those people get his paid. Money. How much? Yeah, but like Alex, like there was one game at Duke. And because Zion was at Duke, how much? They were like $2,000.
Oh, yeah, $2,000.
Were like $2,000. Yeah. You're telling me those guys can't get paid?
Yeah, even going back to that situation where it's like the incident where Zion's shoe like exploded and he could have potentially
stock dropped,
hurt himself. Yeah, well, not only that, like if he would have gotten hurt to the point where like he couldn't play basketball anymore, like it being like considered one of the number one like picks that's gonna go into the draft, to not get anything from it would be bullshit. So I think in those circumstances, these players do deserve something.
Oh, so you say like if he would have got injured, he would have got nothing, and he would have lost. He would have lost in the draft,
and he would have like potentially lost like everything.
Yeah,
because he got injured.
So like that's more like players' insurance, I guess. But like I don't know, man. I feel like there's too much money being made.
I understand that point. I get that there's a lot. There is. I agree with you. There is a lot of money. Yes, they do kind of the money that they draw in. I guess you can call it exploitation, but I think it's to solve that kind of issue, it's like, you have to redo the whole system.
Yeah, I feel like I mean, obviously, as soon as you pay one, you have to pay them all.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And
If you pay one,
so like, how do you pay the 12th man on the team?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like the setouts of the team.
I feel like there should be a base.
Deserve to get paid because they suck.
There should be a base.
The base is that you get a free ride to school.
Dude, it's just
they get stipends. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they get a stipend to go do whatever the fuck they want with.
You think so?
Yes, I'm pretty sure they get some kind of stipend.
Like, obviously, a lot of these players do get money probably from the side. Like, Adidas got caught, right? Doing shit like that. They paid $100,000 to that center from Arizona, I think. Like a year or two ago.
Yeah, there's always been stuff like that going on.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like either that or like just make sure that money's going to some.
It should go back.
Good cause.
It should go back to the schools. Honestly, I really feel like it should. I feel like not enough of it goes back to the school.
To be
like, I feel like if you work for the NCAA, it should be more volunteer work than I'm getting paid money. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no,
that makes sense.
Because like the NCAA isn't a school.
Oh yeah, but.
Like, if the schools banded together, why couldn't they just make the schedules themselves? You know, like, why is there this separate body that controls this, like, athletics?
Money, bro. Money.
But hasn't it always been like that? Like, even going back to, like, high school? Because don't, like, some of the schools have, like, athletic directors that oversee, like, the area of schools or some shit like that?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what, like, the NCAA is.
It's weird. It's weird. I think, yeah, obviously there's corrections that need to be made. Or, like, it's interesting because, you know, LeVar Ball, right? That's the dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never lost.
He kind of wanted to make a league that transitioned players from high school to the NBA.
Didn't it fail,
though? I don't know why that it failed. I don't know why it didn't take off. Like, why weren't kids, like, signing up for that, and why were they signing up to go to college?
Because, I feel like you have to have a lot of money already in it to like it for it to be successful. Like,
I think they were paying the people who played in that league too. Like, it wasn't like huge contracts or anything like that.
That was an issue. I heard that some of the players that were supposed to be getting paid or were told that they were going to get paid didn't get paid. Yeah.
Didn't.
But I don't think it was just high school kids. It was kids that like didn't make it into college either, or like college basketball. So it was more like a transitional type.
That's different.
Of league. But
yeah, schools are weird. College is weird athletic wise. Like,
school is for fools.
I feel like the United States is like one of the only countries that like is head over heels about college athletics. I feel like if you go anywhere else, they don't give a fuck. Like, why would I watch
I don't think.
Why would I watch a bunch of college kids play when I could watch the pros play? Like, kind of that mindset.
Well, that's also true because like in other places of the world, other countries, like there's pro basketball players that are like 17 years old and stuff. Like, they go straight to like their professional league, as opposed to here where they have the rule where they changed it and then now they're gonna change it back, where it's like
where they have youth systems.
Well, I mean more like towards it went like you could be drafted out of high school and then they changed it to you at least have to go to college for a year, and now they're gonna change it back to you could get drafted out of high school.
That's crazy. That's so crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. Because like I feel like if you let high schoolers go straight into the NBA, like Zion, I think we can all agree, like if he had the option, he might have gone directly to the NBA, and he might have
picked up.
Still been the same person. And it's like, how hard does that hurt the NCAA and the revenues? Like,
that's true.
I mean,
a lot.
It's probably still competitive because like the level of talent, the level of heart, kind of. But like at the same time, like who's the last player who's made a Duke ticket $2,000?
Nobody. Which is fucking bullshit, by the way. I honestly want him to say fuck everybody and play 4 years at Duke. Like, please.
Well, I feel like the players should like make a stand. I don't know why they don't, and they should just not play. What's the worst thing that could happen if they don't play? They're not gonna go to jail. Their position in the draft won't get hurt.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know the provisions because like they do sign like contracts and like letters of intent and all that stuff before playing, but I don't know if anything gets affected.
Yeah, that's true.
Announcing what school you're gonna play at is like a thing. I saw this tweet earlier.
Well, yeah, they do that, but then like they sign like a contract with the school, and but like I said, I don't know.
You're gonna come play. Yeah.
I don't know what the provisions say. And
why doesn't that contract say that you have to stay here for 4 years? Like that's what the contract should say too.
That's
I feel
not
like if
part
you
of the
force the players to stay 4
rules.
years.
But I think that too is like it hurts the players. What's the word I want to use? Like their marketability to join the league, because like I said, a lot of these players they go to college literally 1 year, 2 years, just to go and get into the NBA. And the longer you stay in college, the more higher risk you are of getting hurt or doing worse after like the previous year and whatever, which can drop your marketability, and then you could just not even get.
So you think staying in college could hurt their careers?
I think for players that like are gonna go straight to the league, like this is like Zion, like him staying 4 years, it's not a good decision. But for like the white guy sitting on the on the bench the whole season, Mike Shavitsky, whatever, I don't know, just throwing out some random name, he's getting a full right to go to school, so, and he's not one of those people that you would assume like to join them, because there's a lot of people that there's a lot of students and kids that go and play and stay all 4 years just to get the education, and they don't plan on going to the NBA. Yeah. So it kind of benefits them.
So they go to school for free.
Yeah.
To play ball.
Well, I mean, I guess it benefits everyone, because you get a full education for those players, and then the other players that only go for like a year or two get millions of dollars for joining the NBA.
Instantly. Yeah. It's a fucked up system, to be honest. I don't think it'll ever.
As a D1 collegiate athlete, I would agree that the system is flawed.
What? Yeah, right, bro.
Would have been.
Yeah, I mean,
was for my knee injuries, man.
I'll start worrying more when they start paying college athletes, because that's where I personally draw the line, and I think that's really stupid. But I think it's time to move on to our next topic. So, this has nothing.
What's the next one?
This has nothing to do with sports. It's a little bit of old news, but like I mentioned earlier, we couldn't really get to it because Seda sucks. Hashtag surviving Cardi B. I know it's died down a little bit, but
you suck
we
at
didn't
transitions, bro. You could have easily, been like, oh, speaking of college basketball players dunking, let's talk about Cardi B dunking these drugs in the cups and drugging these people.
We didn't talk about dunking, but I feel like it's a little too late, so I apologize for my shitty transition.
I mean, I only brought it up because I saw a meme of like Bill Cosby alley-ooping like a pillow to Cardi B.
Yeah. Was it the Laker one? Because I saw one for the Lakers, and then I saw one for Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, I think it was the Miami Heat. Yeah, I think it was the Dwayne Wade one.
Yeah, that one was good. I laughed at that one, but
she should go to jail.
What I want to kind of, should she go to jail?
Yeah.
Should she?
Should she go to jail?
I feel like that's the question, because, okay, drugging people is like a big, that's a big no-no. Like, don't do that. But I feel like there's a difference between drugging somebody and raping them, and then drugging somebody and stealing their shit.
Yeah, there's a big difference, but I mean, if you drug somebody and rob them, that's still like a serious offense.
That is a serious offense. Drugging somebody is a serious offense. That in itself, that is fucked up.
Yeah.
To render somebody unconscious and either rape them, which is fucking terrible, or steal shit, which is bad but not terrible. And
I think can we address first just the Bill Cosby and the Cardi B thing? Just it seems like, you know, there's memes out there, and there's obviously other pictures that kind of, because it's almost the same thing, just, you know, the fact that they put stuff in other people's drinks.
Yeah, that part is...
the actions afterwards are very different, and I just don't think you can put both of them on the same page. You know what I'm saying?
So like to compare the two, it's like you can't do that, because obviously raping is a way worse, more severe, you know, incident. But you know, we shouldn't use that in comparison to her, because then it just kind of lightens her offense.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, the rape aside, we'll just call it that they both drug people. We won't compare necessarily to Bill Cosby's horrendous actions, but she put out an apology. I think it was on her Instagram. It might have been her Twitter, where essentially she defended herself because she, you know, like, I had to do what I had to do to get by. I know. At one point, I really thought was interesting was how she kind of talked about like entertainers, rappers talk about where they came from and what they like did in terms of almost any rap song from any rapper, drugs, killing, bitches, like stuff of that nature.
Yeah.
And I know we kind of briefly mentioned it on our first episode of, I think it was the first episode of, like, how many of these entertainers like actually did these things.
Well, it's funny you bring that up.
I don't listen to Cardi B, so I've never really listened to her music, so I don't know if she's ever rapped about drugging people.
No.
I feel like I maybe should have looked it up, but I feel like that defense just doesn't really work. Like, I understand, like, you gotta do what you gotta do, but, like, drugging somebody is, like, intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's,
I mean, like it's like saying, "Oh, I had to break the law in order to survive," but yeah, I understand that, but you still kind of broke the law.
Yeah.
It's not an excuse.
So it's definitely not an excuse. And I just what irked me the most was like her defense of like these rappers talk about it all the time, but like how many of these rappers actually shot somebody in the streets? Or I mean, I feel like a lot of them did sell drugs, like, okay, but how many like actually like sold drugs? Like, I know I mentioned that Jay-Z
sold crack to his mom.
There it is. I was waiting for it. Jay-Z sold crack to his mom.
So how about this? Can we talk about that?
Cocked and loaded.
What's worse, Jay-Z selling crack to his mother or Cardi B drugging men and robbing them?
Cardi B.
You said Cardi B? What'd you say,
Alex?
Alex?
Like Cardi B's thing I think is worse.
I don't know, man, because that's your mom.
I understand that, but it's like your mom's asking you for crack, and you have crack. So I mean...
You're justifying it,
No,
man.
I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying
that's justification.
That's not as worse as drugging somebody and robbing them. Because, like, at least...
No, but it's not your mom.
It doesn't matter with it.
You're right. It's a random stranger, and you fucking you drug them, and they fucking... You wake up in your iPad and shit, and all your money is gone. Like, damn.
What annoyed me about the statement was just like how Germs was saying, she tried to like apologize, but kind of use her like the excuse that, oh, like I had to do this to survive and whatnot, and still she expects like no repercussions. Where I was reading that Rick Ross had a line. I don't listen to Rick Ross. But he had
I know what you're talking about.
He had a line where I guess he mentioned about putting Molly in the girl's cup or some shit like that.
I put Molly in her champagne and she didn't even know it.
Yeah, that's the line, and he lost like an endorsement, so he lost, millions of dollars.
I think Reebok dropped him.
Yeah, over something that was just said in the rap game that not necessarily true. Like it could just be, just like a front for like what rappers do, as opposed to somebody who actually committed these things, and is just saying, "Oh, it's okay because I needed to do it in order to survive." Throw her ass in jail.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, okay, so think about it. What if a rapper dude came out and was like, I used to be a stripper and I had to drug and steal from these females to survive. Like, I feel like there would be a bigger backlash. Not that her backlash hasn't like been small, like rightfully so. People have taken to making fun of her, which that's what I'm more interested in, is like all these jokes and memes that have come out of it, which some have been top notch. I know we mentioned the Photoshop with the Dwayne Wade and I know there's one with the Lakers out there that I saw, but I think that kind of overshadowed the fact that like, hey, like, should she get any kind of like reprimand? Is that the right word?
And then, like
she should be reprimanded.
And didn't she just like way. Sign like this $1 million like Pepsi sponsorship or something too? Or some crap like that.
I don't know. I don't follow Cardi B like that.
I think she had like a big Super Bowl commercial though. That's why. But yeah, like you mentioned, it's just I think when the whole R. Kelly stuff and the Bill Cosby stuff came out, like everybody was just ruthless. Like they were just coming at him, and obviously what they did was wrong, as well. Yeah. But then she comes up, and it seems like there's a double standard, where it's like we had people defending.
She didn't rape on anybody.
Yeah, I feel like
there
people.
Wasn't anyone that was underage.
Yeah.
Because you gotta think too, like, who were the men that she was drugging? I mean, these were men going to strip clubs. I mean, the guy who goes, the priest doesn't go to the strip club. I mean, the men that go to these kind of strip clubs, I mean, they're there to exploit women and to do things and to look for one thing only.
I don't think that it's even, you can call it exploitation. If you're going to a strip club, bro, like these females have made their decision.
Yeah,
they want to strip.
So it's not
they want to make money, whether they're by choice or because like they have nothing else, like nowhere else to go, which is a completely other topic. But we understand that
these guys aren't civil servants, right? I mean, I have nothing wrong with strip clubs. I've been to strip clubs. I'm going to go to another strip club. Like,
so you would say so then by your own admission, then you exploit these females by your own.
No, I just took it back. I was like, yeah, I understand that. I just took it back. I took it back like a couple minutes ago. I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, these weren't some, like, the money she was taking from them, like, they weren't like some kind of angels that were walking in there either. Like,
you don't know that.
I feel like this would have been very different. I feel like this would have been very different if she would have like raped them and did other things to them. I think that would have been different if she was just urinating on them, taking shits on them. It was very different, but she just took some money and then maybe don't take so much money to the strip club. What?
So where did the shitting on people come from? Did R. Kelly do that?
I mean, like, you're knocked out. She could do anything. She could have took a shit on the dude's face. Like, she could have did that. But did she?
Well, nah. I don't know that.
She just took the money and left. Like, I don't know. Like, I understand that, like, this is pretty, like, it's fucked up. Like, if I was drugged and I woke up and I didn't know where I was and I didn't have my wallet and, like, I don't remember anything, like, hell yeah, I'm gonna fucking kind of be fucking worried that, whoa, what the fuck happened?
Worried? I don't know what the fuck happened.
For me,
what the fuck?
A lot of people are worried because it's like, well, what happened? And then, like,
For me, it's like I said, like, obviously the severity of what was committed is vastly different. But the point is that for me, it's like, wrong is wrong. So people are trying to defend, like, come to Cardi's side in comparison to them, when in reality, she should be looked at as doing something wrongful on her own. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, my problem with it is I just feel like, everyone wants to come at, Cardi B or like R. Kelly or, they did bad things. But like, I just feel like we're coming really hard at just the wrong people. Like, why wasn't the guy
Weinstein?
who got drunk, the Stanford guy who raped the girl, like, he only got like, how long was he in jail?
Even, I think he got
like,
probation.
He hit that hard, and then like, yeah, he got probation, but like, no one's talking about that anymore. Like, I don't even know how that kid's life is going, but I hope he's living his worst life ever. Like, I really do. And if I find out that he's at least a manager at McDonald's, dude, society's just fucked that he was even able to reach that. He should be picking up my trash, right? And getting paid minimum wage to pick up my fucking trash. So I'm just saying,
make way more money than employees at McDonald's.
That's why I said that he should be paid minimum wage picking up my trash. I had to make that clear for kids. Because garbage men actually make like what, $25 an hour?
Yeah,
like, it's kind of crazy.
So hypothetically, if you know he's working at the McDonald's that you go to constantly, does that mean you're gonna boycott McDonald's?
Yeah, hell yeah. I'm coming at McDonald's hard. I'm coming at them so hard for letting him work there as a manager.
We're gonna get dropped by our McDonald's sponsors. Fucking A, dude. Fucking
We're not
A.
even sponsored.
Damn it,
Look, I just think I understand. We should come hard at her, but we should just exert this same energy to everyone. Like, let's not talk about anyone else too much, but Robert Kraft, like, I think, like, his sentencing,
nuts, dude.
His sentencing, all he has to do is apologize 10 times and turn around in a circle once. Like, that's all he has to do, right? But here we are talking about what Cardi B did and how hard we should come at her. But who's talking about Robert Kraft? No one.
Because Robert
Kraft is old news.
I think, we want to set examples, right? And we want to come hard, like, we want to stop things from happening, but we got to do it to everyone, not just Cardi B. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that.
I mean, even
we need to publicly shame them
with,
constantly.
The whole, like,
every 6 months.
Stuff, the whole, like, bribery and all that stuff. What's her name? The girl from Full House? I was just reading.
Oh, Felicity Huffman Felicity Huffman and the Linda, whatever. I don't even know if that's
like, how fast is that gonna go under the carpet?
That's what I just read. I just read something where, like, every deal that they have involves some kind of jail time. I mean, I don't know how accurate that might be.
Yeah.
But even then, like, what does that tell you? Where these girls who bribe colleges, gave colleges money to let their kids go to school, are gonna get jail time, but somebody that drugged and robbed somebody, it's like,
that's true. Yeah.
I think she should get like a jail time, but she's probably not going to.
It's allegedly, right? I mean, they could prove, the bribes. Like, you can't prove that Cardi B drugged anyone other than her telling everyone that she did.
The video's from 2016, so.
But, like, have any of the men come up and said, oh, I was drugged and she took $50 from my back pocket?
I think there was a Facebook post from one of the dudes who, like, was drugged and robbed and how she stole, like, all his shit. Like, it was, like, we're not talking just, like, $50, $100. Like,
yeah, what are we talking?
Like, I think these dudes are getting robbed, like, over $500.
Yeah, I think,
she should.
Interesting.
She should get.
Yeah,
see now,
she should probably.
Now I don't even want to get into the next topic because Seta's already on fire.
Classic Seta.
What was the next topic? I don't even.
All right, so this one I feel like is not.
Can you give us the rundown?
Yeah. Okay, I got the rundown. Okay, so shitty transition again to keeping the theme with.
I've seen this and I'm ready for this one.
Okay. So. I use Reddit a lot. I am on Reddit every day. It's one of my favorite social media apps. I get a lot of information from Reddit. And if you're not familiar with Reddit, what it is an aggregation site, essentially. So you can subscribe to what are called subreddits, and all these subreddits have different topics. So if you're into movies, music, for example, I'm on the Chicago Cubs subreddit. I'm on the trees subreddit, which is like for weed. And I have a couple other ones that I partake in.
Wait,
and so
why are you on the Chicago Cubs subreddit?
Because I'm a Cubs fan. That's not the point. So almost every April for the last 3 years that I've been,
since they won the World Series, you've been a Cubs fan.
Yeah, I started paying attention to them like in 2014, to be honest. But anyway, April Fool's Day comes around, and so a lot of subreddits like to make jokes. Like they'll change the rules, or they'll post something dumb, just to get people riled up and to have some fun. So one subreddit I particularly am very fond of is Black People Twitter. And it's essentially a culmination of, in their screenshots of tweets from Black people. And they're funny, they're inspiring, there's a lot of culture there. It's a really good subreddit. It's has been on the All subreddit, which is kind of just like the most famous posts across the whole website. And so on April Fool's Day, they decided to play a joke, and it was all non-blacks are banned from, not banned, but they all, if you're not black, essentially you can't comment or post on Black People Twitter. April Fool's Day came and went. It's already what, the 3rd? It's the 3rd. And they didn't change the rule. It stood for the last 2 days, and so people were like pissed. Like I'm reading,
typical white people.
Yeah. Okay. Like white people, majority were like upset, like super fucking pissed, sending these extremely racist, and I've read some of them, extremely racist like messages to the moderators, which is the team that oversees the subreddit. And so today in the morning, I believe from the article I read and some of the other comments from different subreddits, because a lot of other people were making fun of the situation. A lot of people didn't believe it was real. I lost my train of thought. Shit. So they were sending these extremely racist messages, and then this morning I think they did a full ban where it was lockdown and you had to be a member, which means you had to have been invited. And the verification process was you had to write your username on your arm to show that you were black. When I got home, I double checked it, and they reversed the ban, and they released this long post, this text post explaining how it's kind of started as a joke, but then they wanted to essentially call out the racism that was happening in the subreddit. Now, I don't go into the comments very much for this subreddit. I upvoted, I see the tweet, I chuckle to myself, and I keep scrolling. But apparently there's been a lot of like white people just coming into this subreddit and like making these, either whether they're racist jokes or they're just being flat out like hateful towards black people. And they kind of, what it seems to have been was kind of a call to attention that this is supposed to be like a comedic thread. It's supposed to be about the culture, and then here come all these fucking white people and they're ruining everything. No surprise there. White people ruining everything.
We're gonna lose our sponsorships from white people. Come on, man.
Every major corporation, man. Damn
it. And it was interesting to me because when I first heard about it, I was like, what? Like, I'm subscribed to that. Like, now, like, I can't even access it. Like, that's not fair. Like, why am I being punished for all these retarded racists? But the more I read into the post, the more it started to kind of make sense. But I think the biggest argument that was going on was whether or not it was racist for them to do that.
Yeah.
If it was racist to not let other people be racists.
Yeah, essentially, because I didn't have enough time to like actually read into it and find out what was going on. I just logged into Reddit at work and I was like, what's going on? Because I saw a lot of other subreddits like making jokes about it. And so I thought it was a joke. I thought it wasn't real. And then I started reading the comments and they're like, yeah, it's like real. They're not letting you comment or post if you're not black. And so a lot of the discussion that was happening was like, is that racist? Because
I don't think it is.
Because the main argument that a lot of people were using was like, okay, well, if white people Twitter, which is a real subreddit, there's white people Twitter, Asian people Twitter, Scottish people Twitter, and I think a couple, like maybe one or two other ones that are like kind of big but not as big. The argument was, well, what if any of those other subreddits were like, okay, so if you're not white, Asian, Scottish, or whatever people, like, you can't comment and post, and then we might do like a full ban where you have to be a member and you have to prove to me that you're white, Asian, or Scottish. That was like the main argument people were using. But like when Alex said, like, it being racist against races, I kind of felt like that was kind of what they were saying in the text. And one kind of descriptor of the situation that like really stuck with me was something along the lines of, you guys got so fucking pissed and got like straight up racist because we oppressed you. Like, we've been oppressed for the last X amount of years. And I was like, damn, okay. Now it kind of makes sense. But for like, it was just like,
repeat that. Like,
so they were like, you guys got
who's we? Like, who was they?
Okay, so from the moderate, yeah, essentially anybody who wasn't like black, were mad because they were oppressed, and they were like, well, now you know how we fucking feel, like.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
Yeah, and I think it's another good thing to point out too is it's just white people kind of just stepping on something else that isn't theirs. Like, some of these messages
were like really terrible. I'm like, oh my god.
Why can't they mind their own business? It's kind of like when they killed all the Indians, right? Like, why couldn't they just mind their own business? Like, here they come again, ruining things. I think, look, like, there is an integrity to black people Twitter. Like, you don't want a white person putting content on black people Twitter and comments on a sub like that.
God said I doesn't use Reddit.
Here's the thing, though, with posting content. Like, I feel like anybody, and like I said, I don't comment, I don't read the many comments, but apparently a lot of people get racist. But if you've ever,
I don't read the comments.
If you've ever,
I just look at the pictures. Yeah, the tweets are pretty funny.
The tweets are funny. They're funny. There's a whole lot of it's a whole lot of culture there. It's like I said, it's a good subreddit. But when it comes to posting content, I feel like I could take a screenshot of, I don't know, it's some black kid who I think is funny on Twitter. Like, I don't know him. I just stumbled across his profile. I follow him. He tweets some funny shit. I screenshot it and I post it to black people Twitter.
Yeah.
So, like, when it comes to posting content, I feel like anybody can do it. It's just that the content itself has to be in relation to black people Twitter, which it's always a screenshot of a tweet from a black person. So I feel like when it comes to like that, like
part of these tweets though, and not all of them are super, that you have to, have lived a certain life to understand, because there are a lot of relatable, like, college ones, paying tuition, stuff
there's
like that.
A lot of
I
good
get that,
ones.
but there are some that you had to, you'd have to live a certain life in order to kind of understand. I don't know if I just saw this on Twitter, but there was one where it was like, when you put your registration sticker, they would take a knife to it, because, like, when you're in the hood, right, you gotta make sure that no one steals your registration sticker. So they
cut it up in pieces.
Cut it up.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, like, so that's something that the average white person wouldn't relate to, and it's tough. I feel like only black people can post on black people Twitter. Only because, like,
in terms of content,
what are you laughing at in terms of content? Because what exactly do you think is funny? You know, in terms of if you're not black and you're posting it, like why is it that you think is funny? Like I think that can get I don't even know what the word would be.
Okay,
but
here's the thing difficult. Too. Like you don't know who's posting it besides the username.
And I feel like that should change. I feel like this anonymous stuff should go away. And if you want to post things, you got to put your name, and you have to verify that that's you.
Could be held accountable for shit.
I feel like
because just in general, Reddit just is a huge haven of just hate.
I feel like a big part of Reddit is the anonymity. The anonymity.
I get the whole freedom of speech. Like I fuck with freedom of speech. But this whole anonymous thing, it's not in the Constitution, and you don't have a right to be.
It's not in the Constitution. It's not in the Constitution that you have to put your name and you have to verify you're like white, black, Asian, Scottish.
Yeah, you're right, but it's also not protecting you from not being it's not protecting you to be anonymous.
Okay,
either.
So I feel like there's a group of people like me, obviously, who enjoy the content for what it is. I'm not personally. I'm not gonna go follow a bunch of black people, screenshot something, put it on black people Twitter, and try and get my upvotes and get my Reddit karma. I'm not going to try and get my fake internet points. And then there's other people who are like super racist for whatever reason. Your beliefs or whatever.
That's all over social platforms.
Yeah.
I know, but it's such a big deal. And okay, so like I have a feeling, and I kind of understand that it's like all across every social platform, but I feel like with Reddit and what black people Twitter have done, has really, brought to light. Because, like I said, I don't read the comments very much. I usually read the top 5 comments, and they're usually all pretty funny. I haven't really come across, anything like racist. But they did post a bunch of links to screenshots of messages from people who are like, you guys like just extremely vulgar things. And like I said in their text post, they kind of explained the whole idea, and I think they really kind of did a good job, because I am aware that there are racists, but I wasn't aware that it was that intense in this specific sub. That is supposed to be a gathering place for black people to share these tweets. And in general, any subreddit is there for you to chat with like-minded people, whether it's black people Twitter. Well, that's what they fucking made it seem like. But anything that interests you, you're there to congregate and talk with people who have like-minded interests. But it seems like a bunch of racists just invaded this subreddit. And that was the whole...
Yeah, it's probably always been there.
The whole thing...
It goes to the whole anonymous thing, too.
And, okay, so yeah, there is a power of being anonymous, that you can say whatever the fuck you want. And unless you're like...
You can't say... it's your... it's your right to say whatever the fuck you want. Like,
well, yeah, we're like... We have a freedom of speech. As long as you don't incite... call for action or the whole yell fire in a theater thing, you are allowed to say what you want, and you are allowed to believe whatever it is you want to believe. It's all... The slippery slope always comes with what can we do about it? Because in all honesty, I feel like there isn't really much outside of bringing attention to it, because a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, those same people are still going to be racist. There's racists before them, and there's racists after them. Same way that there's good-hearted people now, there's good-hearted... It will always be like this. That's why I feel like it's like, what can you do?
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but I feel like
take away the anonymous thing.
I mean, even outside of that, like, even if Reddit had implemented some system where it's like you have to verify who you are, or at least give your real name. If I feel like that,
even if you post anonymously, don't they know? Like, don't you have to create an account with Reddit or something, or no?
Well, yeah, okay. So but then you're
trace
talking
that
about
back to you anyways.
IP addresses.
Yeah, then that's privacy.
That's like tracking where you are. That's like,
But I mean, not even necessarily where you are, but just who you are. Like, can't they, like, let's say if, for example, you go on and you start saying some, like, racist stuff for some reason.
Yeah, okay.
Can Reddit just be like, can't you get reported or anything like that? Or can't Reddit just go to see, like, what your account is linked to on the comments that you've made? And then they're just like...
Yes,
yeah, but I think that infringes on your freedom of speech because, right? Because, like, if they're going to ban you because you say something, that infringes on your right.
That infringes on your right. But, Alex, there is a report system, and each subreddit kind of has, like, their own rules. Like, this is what you can't do. Okay, so a good example would be the politics subreddit. There's always a pinned comment that says, remember, this is supposed to be for civil discussion. Anybody that brings up any kind of stupidity, starts name calling, starts being fucking retarded, will either get banned from the subreddit or their comment will be removed.
Gotcha. So
there are kind of sort of limitations as to what you can say in that subreddit. So I can go into a subreddit, hurl a bunch of freaking racial slurs and then get banned, and I wouldn't be able to join to partake in that subreddit. But that's not gonna stop me from going to another subreddit. Being racist, yeah. That
goes back to your point though. It's like there's really nothing you could do then, because if you're racist,
that's why I don't feel bad saying that there's almost nothing we can do. I applaud Black People Twitter for this kind of bringing to light that there's fucking horrible people in the world, but I don't really think making it that exclusive was like the right thing to do, and I don't have any suggestion on how to kind of combat people who invade for the sole purpose of being racist, like outside of banning them from the sub,
there's always going to be trolls and stuff, Reddit. So it's...
Yeah, always. It's the fucking internet. Yeah. Like we bring it up. We can say what we can say and do what we want on the internet. That's the beauty of it. Sometimes people take it too far and they're fucking acting like retards. Like it will always be that way. So I just feel like there's really nothing to do outside of raise awareness, which is what they've done. Because I mean, I am now aware. I didn't really think people being racist in that sub or any other sub or hating on people like never really crossed my mind when it comes to Reddit. Like I always thought it was you share these common interests, so you talk in a civil manner to other people on the internet. And I have some other subreddits. I read the comments and I partake and I see that it works. It's a lot of good discussion. Obviously there's like trolls and stuff, but for the most part, I thought it was pretty good. But to like kind of be aware of this, I don't know, kind of turned me on my head a little bit, because there are like white supremacy subreddits that have been popping up, I guess. They linked to a couple in Black People Twitter when they were explaining their whole actions, and I was like, number one, I'm not surprised, and number two, I'm like, holy shit. But then again, number three, like, how impartial do you have to remain to like these kinds of groups that are popping up? That's like, oh, like white people rule. Like, okay, how can you allow?
I think take away the anonymous aspect and a lot of that drops.
Take away the anonymity and boom, problem solved. I mean, I feel like it might quell it down a little bit.
Honestly, like, are you really gonna feel so inclined to make comments like that when you know your name?
If people know your name,
is there?
But then it's like, okay,
people like actually like lose their jobs and shit like that for shit they post online and the things they do online.
But that's very different. None of these people are famous. Yeah, none of these people are famous. They work.
But then it's like, okay, so
it's very easy to lose your job.
Then there's like 12-year-old kids that are just out there being racist to be racist.
There's no benefit for you to remain anonymous. Like, I don't know why this anonymous thing is why it's so normal for us to be anonymous on the internet. Like, what are you hiding? There's some fucked up shit on Reddit. Like, you can find some weird subreddits on Reddit, and it's kind of like
You've gone down that
Yeah,
rabbit
like
hole.
no, I haven't.
I've seen some weird subreddits like.
And I can understand you want to hide from that too, but like at the end of the day, like some of these things aren't healthy either. Like, have you ever been on incel tears?
No, I don't even know what that is.
No, but like INCEL.
Yeah, I don't know if that's an acronym. It's I've seen it. It's a subreddit that makes fun of these certain type of people, these men that see themselves in a certain way, and it's just so weird. Like it's so weird.
Yeah.
And it's just like why hide? Like be who you are.
Yeah, but you can get
do it. Like there's still freedom.
No, you can get like yeeted for being who you are. That's like the whole part of being. So like you're saying, if some, all right, so let's just take fucking Mike Stewitsky, or what'd you say? What'd you say his name was?
I don't know.
The white dude on the bench.
Stewitsky. I just made up some random last name that
all right.
ski.
All right, let's take Mike Shavitsky. Super hard worker, does and he works in a corporate office. Super hard worker, really nice dude. Like you would never think type dude, right? He goes online and he's a racist. Yeah. So now he has to post with his full information, like.
Yeah, and he's a full racist. Yeah.
Yeah. So now it's like, well, you're not allowed to share that belief, and it's maybe it's a bad example, but now it's like you're not allowed to fucking talk about it. You're not allowed to share it with anybody outside of the internet. That's why I feel like the internet has created, and I don't want to call it a safe space, but like a space where like-minded people can come together, whether it's they love video games or they're fucking racist. Yeah. And they don't have to worry about people finding out and then being
they
like,
could be racist and love video games.
Yeah.
Or they can be racist and love video games. But now it's like you have to be careful, because what if my boss finds out that I'm on this racist video game playing subreddit and I get fired? But you never would have guessed that I was racist. And I'm getting fired for it now.
The old school like video game chat rooms are some of the most racist places that you could have gone.
Well, yeah, bro. Throw in a fucking I don't even know what to call them. Throw in a sensitive kid into a fucking 2006 Halo 2005 Halo 2 multiplayer lobby, and then
or Call of Duty, Modern Warfare.
Yeah, Call of Duty, all that shit. Like
I've seen a lot.
I don't want to say
where it's like white people online when they're losing an argument, and then it's just like a picture of their finger hovering over like the end key. And I'm just like,
well, yeah,
that's true,
bro.
They're racist like that.
Yes, but okay. So that's like a whole nother thing. I feel that's like throw them in any kind of multiplayer chat lobby, and they're gonna fucking cry to their mom, like, oh my god, this kid. But
yeah, man, it's weird.
It's I just thought it was very interesting because I'm on Reddit all the time, and I never would have suspected there was just gonna be this kind of fucking like shenanigans, I guess.
Nah, dude, the world is very racist. At least America is.
The world is fucking racist. But the world is also filled with kind, warm-hearted people.
There's more racists.
There's more racist than kind-hearted people.
Probably not, but
I feel like they exist in a very small minority. And I know you mentioned it last time. It might have been our lost episode, which may or may not make it to the air. But you had mentioned you had mentioned that people are now more open about it in today's day and age.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it sucks, man.
But like at the end of the day, they're like allowed to be. So just fucking ignore them. And I know that's a really fucking shitty solution to the problem. I'm very aware of that, but
it's tough. Yeah, how do you fix it?
How do you stop it? I don't think you do. I think they will always exist. Evil will always exist in this world. So.
They say like 1 out of every 3 people are racist, and in this group, I'm not racist, so
I'm not racist. That's a lie.
Nah, I'm just kidding. I made that stat up. But Sarah is racist.
No, not really.
He just doesn't know.
All right, so let's take this to an hour and a half just so we can get this last thing in. Kind of maneuvering away from that one. Crazy subject, but that's what we do here on the internet's shittiest pop culture podcast. We tackle the things no one wants to tackle. So if you can check on our little docket, our itinerary, we have the last subject of the show.
What is it?
The murder of Nipsey Hussle, the rapper.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
R.I.P. was shot and killed at the young age of 33 in front of his own clothing store, I believe.
Yeah. His own clothing store, yeah.
Okay, so full disclosure, I never listened to Nipsey Hussle. The only thing I knew about him was he had this ad off of Melrose. I think it was for Reebok. And it was just a picture of him and like some kind of slogan. And then he died, and then some people at work were like, Nipsey Hussle died, and I'm like, I don't know who that is, but that's terrible. Like, no one should get gunned down like that. So I did a little more research, and it turns out he was like really involved. And he's from LA, I guess. He's from South Central. Super involved in his community. From what I understand, kind of turned his life around and was like, you know, involved in his community and like trying to make it better. And then some dude shot him, killed him, and that's that.
I know Alex mentioned that's what happened. But one of the theories, I guess, that's going out there is that I guess Nipsey Hussle was working on a documentary about Dr. Sabai, who's this doctor who supposedly like found the cure for like cancer or AIDS or something, and all of a sudden, you know, he was found shot. And we kind of discussed this somewhat really briefly, and you know, some people might call this a coincidence, or some people might just not believe. But I had actually just found out too that I was telling the guys that Left Eye, the girl from TLC, was also back in the day trying to do a documentary or like bring his Dr. Sabai story to the public, like through MTV and like her own like little docu-series, and then all of a sudden she ended up passing away. So then now coincidence starts to kind of be a little blurred, in my opinion. Because these
I don't know. Okay, well, I respectfully deny your opinion. But I just think some dudes...
Well, fuck you too, man.
I feel like some dude just shot him. I guess some article was saying that the dude that killed him, like he knew him, like they had a history together. Mm-hmm. I don't know to what extent that history extends.
I mean, like
what's your source?
Yeah. What's your source, man?
I can't pull it up right now, but if you want to Google it,
it's part of it. It's part of it.
Are you part of this conspiracy theory?
We've been infiltrated.
Hey, let me ask you this one question, Jeremiah.
No, what the fuck?
Where do you live right now?
I'm definitely not gonna disclose that information to you. But yeah, okay, it is weird because a lot of people were like, "Oh, like how's he gonna get gunned down in his own hood and in front of his own store in his own fucking, you know, like area?"
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, the reason why I am a little like towards the conspiracy theory is, like I said, like that kind of those two rappers or, you know, entertainers that passed away trying to do the same thing, Dr. Sabai was murdered and killed, right before he was gonna try to release his, medical breakthrough. And to me, like I've always believed that, America is run by these big corporations and things like that. So they're very capable of,
killing Nipsey Hussle.
Well, I mean, not necessarily killing Nipsey Hussle, but I mean, like I've always thought that there's been cures to these diseases. Like, for example, like cancer. I've always believed that there is a cure out there. But because, we get so much money through funding and like research and donations and all that stuff, that they...
I agree with you that I'm like, it's kind of weird that we haven't really cured these things. When I'm like, we're doing some crazy shit as humans, to be honest. Like, we've come a long way.
I mean, I agree, but it's stuff like that where it's like, to me, I believe that there has been a cure, or like before, like the whole HIV thing, like people didn't really believe there was a cure and whatnot, and then like Magic Johnson got it and he survived, but that guy tastes
he's still alive. Yeah, but he went to France
and that's my point.
Crazy shit.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, obviously, like there is solutions out there, but like America
to help you live for a long time. See,
but America doesn't do it because these pharmaceutical companies get so much money from the benefit of you being sick.
Yeah.
Insurance companies get so much money. These hospitals get so much money with the benefit of you being sick.
Yeah. I understand I mean, yeah, it's how it's run. It's a shitty system. There's a lot of shitty systems we've been talking about today, but at the same time, and I talked to somebody at work about this, so hate me if you want, but I don't think...
I already do.
Okay, well, hate me even more. I don't think that curing some of these things is really that good of a thing. For the sole reason, okay, not sole reason, but a big part of why I'm iffy about, we'll just say curing cancer is because we're kind of already fucked. There's way too many people on this planet and we are destroying it at such a high rate. I understand it's a shitty fucking thing. It's losing a loved one to a fucking terrible disease is fucking shitty. Like I lost my grandfather to cancer. Like, it's fucking terrible. At the same time, it's like, well, if we start saving all these people and it's curing all these diseases and there has to be some kind of way to make up for all these extra people that are just staying alive longer and longer.
Unvaccinated children.
Yeah, so you're what I'm hearing is that you're suggesting that if we find a cure for cancer, we should combat it with a huge, like, massive genocide.
Dude, not necessarily a genocide, but at least let's fucking find an Earth 2 and fucking colonize another planet, bro. Like,
yeah,
no,
I get that.
I mean, I understand where you're coming from too, because of overpopulation and stuff. But I mean, obviously, if, like, let's say your mom would just be like, right now, boom, she gets cancer, and they're like, hey, germs, we're gonna come to you with the first ever cure. Do you want us to kill your mom? You're gonna be like, nah, man, the world's too overpopulated. I don't think so.
Okay. Am I the only one that knows of its existence?
Oh.
Outside of the scientific team that has created this cure for cancer, they're gonna give it to me first. If I accept it, are they gonna use it on everybody, or is it like, if you say no, we'll destroy it right now? You're reading too much
into it already.
Yeah.
It was a yes or no grade.
I mean, he was doing a lot of good things. I think Nipsey Hussle, I mean, he's gang affiliated. He's done a lot in his youth. very similar to Cardi B, as in he had to do what he had to do to survive.
So you think somebody
maybe
just
killed
decided...
him? Like, it could have been some old beef. People hold grudges. Yeah, it could have been some old beef. Someone was just mad, especially if it's old beef and the other guy's more successful.
I think I also
that can really piss people off.
I also read that at the time that he got shot, he was with like a friend of his who was just recently released, or was like an ex-convict or something like that. So maybe that could have played a big role in the situation.
That could have, yeah.
I mean, obviously,
yeah, and he was a great guy. It seemed like he was doing a lot for the community. I don't know if, because the chief for the Los Angeles Police Department said that, you know, a lot of great things about him. We don't know if this police officer, the chief, is in on it either. I mean, he could be saying whatever.
Well,
a lot of great guy.
A lot of people are like really upset about this. Like, at least out here in LA, and especially in South LA.
That's good, because this was a guy that was trying to change. Like, you don't really see a lot of rappers trying to do changing stuff. Like, I never really hear about Kanye changing things in Chicago. All I know is that he doesn't live in Chicago, number one. And number two, he's fucking crazy. And honestly, he's pretty dumb. Like, maybe he's smart in the fact the way he markets himself.
Stupid successful.
But he's not doing anything for the city of Chicago that I can see.
Didn't he, like, open some kind of thing dedicated to his mom?
Maybe, but why? I don't hear about it. Like, he's got so much money. The Kardashians have so much money.
So like
somebody with his wealth should have done a lot more.
And there's this one guy, Nipsey Hussle, that, let's not even talk about the AIDS thing or the cancer. This dude was doing so much more than that. But I think it's good to point out that the pharmaceutical companies are evil, and there should be some kind of...
And they murdered Nipsey Hussle, goddammit.
Like, if we just, like, even get off the subject of Nipsey Hussle, and even we're just to focus on the pharmaceutical companies. I mean,
I don't know.
Alex, I think, said it earlier. Like, they profit off overweight people. They profit off illnesses. Like, who was that guy?
Pharma bro.
Circle or something? He had, like, insulin or something.
Oh, Martin Shkreli?
No. Yeah, he raised the price on it. Like, and he had a reason too. I forget what it was, but like, it was to point something out. But the fact is like, they create these things that help people, yet they're gonna charge so much for it. And then I always think, like, well, how much does it cost to produce these kind of pills?
That's what.
In my mind, I feel like they're just stamping together different kind of, you know, ingredients, in a machine. Like, the cost can't be that much, like, to make these things. Yet
exactly.
For the average American to purchase it, I mean, you can go into debt, and it's kind of like, you know, what's going on.
That's why I get all my medicine from Mexico, bro.
Like, I mean, it's just interesting. Like, it took so long to legalize, you know, medical marijuana, and finally it's, you know, recreational, whether you believe it should be or not. But, like, you know, Big Pharma was probably against that. Right? Because now...
Nah, you know, but see, I think somebody... Okay, so here's... Okay, I think... Actually, it might have been... It was either... It was one of my Theos, and I'm not going to say who, had actually mentioned that those kind of... Okay, so like tobacco companies are obviously like, oh, we don't want... we don't want to legalize marijuana. They actually have been buying up land and have been waiting for it to happen, because boom, like, it happens, now we can make Marlboro Greens. Get you a pack of fucking joints for $10. Like, okay. But then again, that's the issue where it's like, well, all these big super companies are like now getting into the marijuana industry, and like, there goes all the little farms that are like, you know, the local homegrown type deal. So it's like, that part is where, like, you know, I can see it happening. But just real quick, the makers of OxyContin, I think the Sackler family is what they are like getting sued for orchestrating an opioid epidemic.
They were pushing those pills to doctors, like they were kind of like bribing them to prescribe them to.
And now look, everyone's addicted to opioids. Hell yeah.
Wait, what was the company's name or the family name? Sackler?
Sackler, the Sackler family, Sackler? And I think it's Purdue Pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, Purdue, unaffiliated with.
I know, right? That's what I thought. I was like, Sacklers. We're the fucking Sacklers, and we have hella money from. Dude, that's clean drug money. That is so fucked up.
Well, going back to
it's kind of crazy because if I go out in the state of Indiana, right, or like Illinois, or like any place that marijuana is not legal, and I go build up my own farm illegally, I can go to jail for a really long time. Like, how crazy is that these people who, I wonder who these people are that own these pharmaceutical companies. They get away with so much.
The Sackler family is, I think, like the biggest one, and they're honestly said, I don't Google them because I know
you're gonna come to the
we
next
could do
podcast
like a whole.
We should create our own
pharmaceutical. You might want to be like, I want to dedicate a whole 2 hours to fucking, because dude, they're old and they're white. Like, I know that's your fucking.
It wouldn't really matter at the end of the day, because if they were white, black, Hispanic, anything, like, it's still pretty shitty that you're profiting off of addicts. And
the death of Nipsey
there's
Hussle.
A lot of drug dealers out there that's their main source of income are drug addicts, but like, this is legal drug addicts. Like, that's so
legal
crazy.
Legal drug dealing is what.
Legal drug dealing, but like, if I were to go do something, you're gonna go to jail for like however long because you had so many tons of marijuana. Fuck you, man. Like, that's so stupid.
Do you have tons of marijuana?
Are you growing in an illegal state?
Where you say you're from again, Sarah?
Look, all I'm saying is... What?
Can you please state your full name and your address?
Your social security? And your prices?
It's interesting what people can get away with, but what others can't.
Yeah. It's because they have money.
It's because they have money, I guess. I mean,
they had money and they got Nipsey Hussle killed. Is that?
And they got Nipsey Hussle killed. What a great guy. He was gonna do so much.
R.I.P. I'm still half. I just don't.
I mean, fuck the conspiracy, dude. Like, the guy was doing a lot of great things. Like, let's not kind of taint his legacy with a conspiracy theory. Like,
I don't even think that's like a. I don't even think it's like tainting it. I think that's just people like
that too. You can't.
But it's
you
taking
can't,
most of the spotlight.
Yeah, but you can't really say that when there's a video of him on a talk show or like doing a podcast or a talk show or a radio talk show, and he literally brings up the situation and like he's aware. He's like, I'm doing this documentary. Like, I'm not gonna be surprised if like I get killed. It's like, I just want people to ride.
I'm glad he said that, because I hope he's put things in motion that if this were to happen,
so that's my point. Is that works. he himself was like, I just want my people to continue my work and ride for me. So I mean, in a sense, we shouldn't push this conspiracy theory.
For Nipsey Hussle? Should I start listening to Nipsey Hussle?
Is that a call to action?
What? Ride for Nipsey Hussle?
Yeah, is that a call to action? You gotta be careful with call to action.
Hey man, I'm just repeating what Nipsey Hussle said. Man, I'm not making anybody do nothing.
For legal reasons, this is a joke.
For legal reasons. For safety reasons, this is a joke.
For safety reasons, I don't have tons of marijuana.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think about in terms of conspiracy theories, but at the end of the day, I just think some fucking idiot was like, remember when you fucking did this 10 years ago? And then just fucking shot him.
That could have been the case. That honestly, he's gang affiliated, got on TV and told on me.
Yeah, I think, maybe, I don't know, who knows? What if you're right and this whole thing blows up? Then, you know what? Then you're right, and
you heard it here first, people.
Well, yeah, you heard it here first. If this is like your only source of information, then you heard it here first. Otherwise, you probably like read it online somewhere and got your information that way. It's a tragedy, though. At the end of the day, it's very, very sad. He left behind a daughter, and I don't know if he was married. What does it say, like a girlfriend? I guess I don't know.
Girlfriend, wife. I think he was engaged.
Yeah, I mean, no one deserves to get gunned down like that. But it's unfortunate and it fucking sucks. Whether or not pharmaceuticals or some random dude from who had a beef with them from 10 years ago pulled the trigger, like, it's a fucking terrible. Anytime someone, I think it's an even bigger deal because he was like a rapper and was like actually like involved in his community and trying to make it a better place and you know, really kind of inspiring the hood to like do better, and then he just got gunned down. So it's like, well, you can do all these great things and you can change your life around and you can become a celebrity and get money and give it back to the community, and then you're just gonna get shot anyway.
Yeah, or you could do a lot of heroin too.
Or you can do a lot of heroin and then blow your brains out. R.I.P. Kurt Cobain. Which some people say he was murdered because he had too much heroin in his system. Or, I mean, yeah, that too. I mean, I hear heroin, I think of like Kurt Cobain, so I honestly forgot about Demi Lovato. But yeah, R.I.P. Nipsey Hussle, man. Like, that sucks.
Throw Kurt Cobain into the same sentence with Demi Lovato.
Well, I mean, if he didn't bring up Kurt Cobain, then it wouldn't. If I just said Demi Lovato,
because they both did heroin. Like,
I mean, I understand that, but it's like
heroin's not funny, man. It's not funny. These people are suffering. Jeez, don't do heroin for the first time, maybe.
Maybe. True.
Wait, I didn't hear you say that. I was too busy shooting up right now. What'd you say? I'm just kidding, guys. Don't do drugs.
Bent like the
drugs are bad.
Hey, don't do drugs. Any final words or thoughts other than don't do heroin?
Hey, Sarah, you wanna make sure you upload that lost episode before we?
Yeah, dude. I got it. I downloaded the thing. I'm gonna do it tomorrow.
Oh my god! So maybe we get a double episode in. I don't know,
a double episode.
But
That's cool.
Yeah, double episode. Maybe it's a special lost episode. But thank you once again for joining us, and make sure to tune in, like, comment, subscribe to the channel for more. I guess shitty internet content, if that's what you want to call it. And we'll catch you guys later.